2022 National Champagne Brunch. Please welcome to the stage LGBTQ Victory Institute Executive Director, Ruben Gonzales.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I said afternoon. It is now officially acceptable to be seen with a mimosa in your hand, so drink up. Welcome to the National Champagne Brunch, our first in-person national brunch since 2019. I have to say, you all look much more fabulous in person than you do on Zoom, even with all those fancy new filters. But we are so happy to have you here. My name is Ruben Gonzales, and I'm the Executive Director of LGBTQ Victory Institute, our 501c3 organization that recruits and trains a pipeline of LGBTQ leaders. Many of the endorsed candidates and elected officials you'll meet or hear from today are alumni of Victory Institute's programming. But to truly advance equality, LGBTQ people must also be represented across the agencies and departments that make the policy decisions that affect our lives. And we work on that too. Launched during Bill Clinton's presidency, Victory Institute's Presidential Appointments Initiative works with administration officials and over 30 partner organizations to find and support qualified out leaders for presidential appointments. I'm proud to say that with our help, the Biden administration is the most LGBTQ inclusive in history. With 15% of political appointees identifying as LGBTQ. Yes. Of course, equitable representation is about more than just LGBTQ people. All underserved communities deserve a voice in government, which is why I would like us all to raise a glass to a woman who defied 232 years of precedent to make history last week. A woman whose qualifications, experience, temperament made her the perfect choice, but who had to defy the odds and navigate a deeply divided Senate to get there. Please join me in a toast to the newest Associate Justice on the U.S. Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Because of the work of Victory, the first out LGBTQ person on the Supreme Court could be sitting in this room right now. Over the last 6 years, it has been a privilege to work with an incredible team under the leadership of Mayor Anise Parker, and together we built out and expanded our important programs. I'm so proud to have been a part of this work, and I do have some personal news to share. Next week will be my last week at the Victory Institute. The White House, which I've worked so closely with on LGBTQ presidential appointments, has asked me to serve as Special Assistant to the President for Domestic Agency Personnel. Thank you. Thank you. I know that's a very governmenty title, but I can best explain it like this. From the White House, I will continue to work with Victory Institute and our partners on recruiting and selecting presidential appointees that look like America. And one of the perks of the new position, I get to work with our first guest, the incomparable Karine Jean-Pierre. Yes. Karine worked in New York City politics, served in the Obama administration, and was a key voice at MoveOn.org. Last June, as White House Principal Deputy Press Secretary, she became the first LGBTQ woman and just the second Black woman to lead a press briefing at the White House. Amazing. Karine is a powerful advocate for equality in the Biden administration, and she exemplifies the importance and impact of our presidential appointment efforts. We are so grateful she is here today. Please welcome Karine Jean-Pierre.
Okay, hello. And congratulations, Ruben. Really, really excited to call you now a colleague. Thank you. Hello, everyone. You guys look amazing. All right. Now I got to catch my breath from my little Mary J. Blige dance there. Okay. So thank you all for having me today. I really appreciate this opportunity to be here in front of you to talk about where we are and what this administration has been doing, the Biden-Harris administration. As you all know, and I say this with pride, I am a proud Black gay immigrant woman. So basically, I am Ted Cruz and Ron DeSantis' worst nightmare. But not only am I a Black gay woman, but I am a Black gay woman who has the unbelievable honor to, on a daily basis, speak to the country on behalf of the President of the United States. I have that honor because we have a president who believes in diversity, who believes that representation matters. We have a president who sees us, who believes in us, a president who has put openly LGBTQI+ people at every level of government, from cabinet secretary on down. By the way, did I say gay enough times for Ron DeSantis and anti-LGBTQ legislators in Florida? But enough about me for just a moment. I want to tell you instead about a man named Robert Tholander. Robert is a teacher in Florida. When his sixth grade students asked him about his marriage, he answered truthfully. He was married to a man. The parents of Robert's students found out. Some of them wrote a letter to their children's school board demanding consequences for what Robert had done. But what exactly had Robert done? All Robert did was be himself. All Robert did was be honest about his sexual orientation. All Robert did was be LGBTQ. For some parents, that was enough. Luckily, Robert's school defended him against the parents' attacks. But Robert should never have needed to depend on luck to keep his job. No teacher should ever fear losing their job because of who they are. Luck should never decide if you keep your job or not. Luck should never choose whether you have to hide who you are or live your life openly. Unfortunately, in Florida, even luck may not be enough to protect teachers like Robert. Because just a few weeks after Robert's school defended him from some hateful parents, Florida passed the Don't Say Gay bill, or HB 1557. So legal experts believe that bill could be used to let parents sue school districts if a teacher talks about their same-sex partner, about being queer, or about being transgender. This bill means that even teachers like Robert who work in welcoming school districts could be in trouble. Across the country, we have seen scores of hateful, bigoted legislation advance in state houses and city halls that seek to oppress and harm LGBTQ people. We have seen a downright onslaught of bills targeted at our trans siblings. From Arizona to Indiana to Idaho, conservative leaders have passed or attempted to pass bills that ban trans athletes from playing sports, take away trans people's health care, and generally just attempt to harm trans people. We have also seen continued violence against trans people, and in particularly against trans women of color. Anti-LGBTQ politicians are trying to legislate us out of existence. Let me just say that again. Legislate us out of existence. They are trying legislative hate. They are legislating discrimination. These laws they are passing are reminiscent of some of the darkest laws passed for our nation's history. One of my heroes, the late civil rights legend icon John Lewis, once said, "Do not get lost in a sea of despair. Be hopeful, be optimistic. Our struggle is not the struggle of a day, a week, a month, or a year. It is the struggle of a lifetime. Never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. So we will make noise, we will make good trouble, necessary trouble. Because I'm here to say to you all this afternoon, we can and we will build a different world. We will build a world where queer and trans people are celebrated for the joy of discovering yourself, not punished for it. We will build a world where queer and trans people of color are at the forefront of the movement. We will build a world where LGBTQ people are working and welcomed in schools, in restaurants, and yes, in elected offices. So growing up, I wish I had a teacher like Robert. Someone who could tell me it was okay to be who I was. Someone who could have helped me navigate coming out to my parents. Someone to look up to. Unfortunately, when I was younger and still figuring out my identity, I didn't have anyone like Robert to turn to. Because while there have always been, queer and trans people, our identities haven't always been visibly celebrated, let alone tolerated. That's why I'm so proud to be working for President Biden, a president who is so personally committed to this community, a president who signed one of the most comprehensive executive orders in the history of LGBTQ plus rights in his first few hours of stepping into the White House. A president who reversed the ban on openly transgender service members serving in the armed forces. And a president who issued the first ever White House proclamation for Transgender Day of Visibility. And there's so much more. That's also why when I walked up to the podium in the White House briefing room for the first time in May of last year, I could feel that that was a special moment. That's why when I had the press briefing last October on Spirit Day, I wore a purple dress. The fact that a queer Black woman born to Haitian American parents was delivering remarks on behalf of the President of the United States. I could only imagine what kind of impact seeing someone like me in that role would have had on me when I was a kid. Now, of course, representation isn't everything. Visibility is incredibly important, and I'm so proud of the work everyone in this room is doing to make sure LGBTQ people can be out and proud every day, in every workplace and in every town. But visibility doesn't always lead directly to on-the-ground change. We've witnessed a beautiful increase in trans representation over the last few years, and with it, an ugly increase in anti-trans legislation. That's why the work the Victory Fund and everyone here is doing to advance change that will help people in their day-to-day lives is critical and so important. Alongside community members, parents, activists, and more, the Victory Fund is making change that will help LGBTQ people live their lives plain and simple. The Victory Fund is making noise. The Victory Fund is making trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble. If there's one message you all walk away with today, it's this. The work you are doing to protect LGBTQ people matters, and it's working. When I first came out many years ago as a teenager, the reaction was poor, and I went straight back into the closet and wouldn't open that door again for years. But eventually I did. And today I have so many more rights and protections and support from allies that I did back then. We still have a long way to go. I don't want to diminish that. That is just a reality that we are living in today. And the attacks we've seen over the last few years, especially on trans community members, have been truly awful. But the LGBT community is a community that knows how to overcome, because it's what we've always done. No matter how loudly Ron DeSantis proclaims, "Don't say gay," I know we will yell gay even louder. No matter how hard they'll fight to oppress us, we'll work even harder for our liberation. And with everyone in this room on our side, I know we can do this. I have never been prouder to be part of the LGBTQ community, and thank you so much for this opportunity. Continue the hard work. Thank you.